This topic is rounding. Let's take the number 5.3288 and let's say we want to round it to the third decimal place. One way to do it is to put a line between the third and the fourth decimal place and check that the number to the right of the line, if it is a 5 or greater. If it's 5 or greater, that 8 rounds up to a 9. If it was less than 5, it would not round up. But since we have an 8 here, the answer of this number rounded to the third decimal place would be 5.329. Here are a few more examples. The number right up here at the top of the page is the full number. 2.5 is that number rounded to the first decimal place. 2.52 is that number rounded to the second decimal place, and you see the 5.1 becomes a 5.2 because the 8 rounds up. Then you have 2.518 for the third decimal place, and so on. Here are a few more examples. 9.3501 rounded to the first decimal place comes to 9.4. That's because the 3 rounds up to a 4 because the number to the right of it is 5. So 5 or greater, it rounds up. The number rounded to the second decimal place is easy, 9.35. The number rounded to the third decimal place would be 9.350, but since 0 has no value, since it's to the right of the decimal point, that number is simply 9.35. This last one to the right is a little more tricky. We have 5.4197 to the first decimal point. First decimal place it is 5.4. To the second one it's 5.42. The third one is a little tricky. So you have the original number is 5.4197. To evaluate that to the third decimal place, you would take the 7 and make the 9 one digit higher, but the 9's as far as you can go without changing it to a 10. So what we do is the 9 becomes a 10, and the number to the left of that, which is a number 1, becomes a 2. So in this case, 5.4197 rounds up to 5.420, and since the 0 doesn't count if it's to the right of the decimal, it's just 5.42.